I came home early from my business trip because my last meeting got cancelled. It was 2:30 on a Thursday afternoon. I'd been gone for 3 days. I pulled into the driveway of the house I'd lived in for 8 years. The house I'd bought with my own money. The house I'd poured my savings into. And there was a car I didn't recognize parked in my spot. I walked in through the front door. Heard voices upstairs. Laughter. Then sounds that made my stomach drop. I stood at the bottom of the stairs for about 10 seconds. Just long enough to decide I wasn't going to scream. Wasn't going to cry. Not yet. I walked up the stairs. Down the hall. Opened the bedroom door. My husband of 6 years, Nathan, was in our bed with a woman I'd never seen before. They both scrambled. The woman grabbed sheets. Nathan jumped up, panicked. "Claire, I can explain," I held up my hand. "Get dressed. Both of you. Then get out of my house." The woman was already grabbing her clothes. Nathan was pulling on pants, talking fast. "Claire, listen, this isn't, we need to talk about this, there's nothing to talk about. Get out." The woman left first. Practically ran down the stairs and out the front door. Nathan stood there in the bedroom, looking at me like I was being unreasonable. "Claire, you can't just kick me out. I live here." I stared at him. "You just screwed another woman in my bed. In my house. And you're telling me what I can and can't do? It's my house too. We're married. You can't just get out, Nathan." No. That one word. That defiance. Like he had any right to tell me no. "Fine," I said. "Then I'm calling a lawyer." I turned and walked downstairs. Got my phone. Went into the guest room and locked the door. And that's when Nathan made his biggest mistake. He texted me an hour later, "I talked to a lawyer. You need to leave. I'll give you 2 weeks to find a place. This is my house too and I'm not going anywhere." I read that text 3 times. Then I laughed. Actually laughed. Because Nathan had forgotten one very important detail. His name wasn't on the mortgage. Or the deed. Or the title. Or anything. The house was 100% mine. Hey Tangled Yarns family, it's Brett. And if you're new here, welcome to what might be the most satisfying "you have no power here" moment in real estate history. Today's story is about Claire, a woman who bought her house 3 years before she got married, worked her ass off to pay the mortgage, and then came home early from a business trip to find her husband in bed with someone else. And when that husband tried to kick her out of her own house, she taught him a very expensive lesson about reading the paperwork. Let's untangle this mess. Claire bought the house in 2015. She was 29, working as a regional sales manager for a pharmaceutical company, making about $95,000 a year. She'd saved for years. Lived in a tiny apartment. Drove a used car. Put every spare dollar into a down payment fund. When she finally had enough, she bought a 3-bedroom bungalow in a decent neighborhood outside Atlanta. $280,000. She put down 20%. Got a 30-year mortgage in her name. It was hers. Completely hers. And she was proud of it. She met Nathan in 2016 at a friend's wedding. He was charming. Funny. Worked in marketing. Made decent money. They clicked. They dated for a year. Got engaged. Married in 2018. Nathan moved into Claire's house. It made sense. She already owned it. Had been living there for 3 years. It was paid for, stable, in a good school district for the kids they talked about having someday. They never formally discussed adding Nathan to the deed. It just never came up. Nathan paid half the utilities. Contributed to groceries. But the mortgage? That stayed in Claire's name. She paid it from her account like she always had. For a while, things were good. Nathan got promoted. Claire got promoted. They traveled. Talked about the future. But sometime around 2022, things shifted. Nathan started working late more often. Started going out with work friends on weekends. Started being distant. Claire noticed. Asked about it. He said he was stressed. Work was demanding. She believed him. In early 2024, Nathan started talking about the house differently. He'd say things like, "When we sell the house," or "We should renovate our kitchen," or "I'm thinking we should rent this place out and buy something bigger." Our house. Our kitchen. We should sell. Claire would correct him gently. "It's my house, babe. But yeah, we can talk about renovations." He'd get annoyed. "We're married. It's our house." Legally, it wasn't. But Claire didn't want to make it a thing. So she let it slide. Then came the business trip. Claire traveled for work a few times a year. Usually 4 or 5 days. Nathan had always been fine with it. This trip was to a pharma conference in Chicago. She left on a Monday. Was supposed to come back Friday. But her last meeting got cancelled. She caught an earlier flight. Landed Wednesday afternoon instead. She texted Nathan that she was coming home early. He didn't respond. She figured he was in a meeting. Didn't think much of it. And then she pulled into the driveway and saw the strange car. After Nathan refused to leave and sent that text about talking to a lawyer and giving her 2 weeks to move out, Claire called her best friend Rachel. Rachel was a paralegal. She'd helped Claire with the house purchase paperwork back in 2015. "Rachel, Nathan cheated. I caught him. Now he's saying I need to leave and he's staying in the house." "Wait, your house? The one you bought before you even met him?" "Yeah." "Claire, his name's not on anything. The deed is in your name only. So is the mortgage." "I know. So he has zero legal claim to that property. He's a tenant at best. Actually, not even a tenant since he doesn't pay rent. He's just living there." "Can I make him leave?" "Absolutely. You're the sole owner. You can ask him to leave immediately. If he refuses, you can file for eviction. But honestly, given that he's your spouse, you might want to loop in a divorce attorney first." Claire called a divorce attorney that night. Her name was Patricia. She'd been practicing family law for 20 years. Claire explained the situation. The cheating. The house. Nathan's text. Patricia listened. Then asked one question: "Is his name on the deed?" "No." "Then that's the easiest part of this divorce. The house is your separate property. He has no claim to it." "He seems to think he does." "He's wrong. Georgia is an equitable distribution state, but assets owned before marriage and kept in one person's name remain separate. You bought this house 3 years before you married him. You paid the mortgage from your own account. He's contributed nothing to the equity. He has no claim." Claire felt something unclench in her chest. "So I can make him leave?" "You can. I'll draft a letter." The letter was delivered to Nathan the next day. Friday morning. Certified mail. It was formal. Legal. And very clear. It stated that Claire was filing for divorce on grounds of adultery. That the marital residence at the listed address was Claire's sole separate property acquired prior to marriage. That Nathan was required to vacate the premises within 30 days. Nathan called her screaming. "You can't do this. This is my house too. I've lived here for 6 years. Your name isn't on the deed, Nathan. We're married. That doesn't matter. Actually, it does. I bought the house before we got married. It's separate property." My lawyer was very clear. "I'll fight this. I'll get a lawyer and I'll fight you." "You should get a lawyer. You're going to need one." He hung up. 2 days later, Nathan's attorney called Patricia. They had a conversation. Patricia explained the property ownership. Sent over the deed. The mortgage documents. The bank statements showing Claire had made every payment. Nathan's attorney called him back and explained that he had no case. The house was Claire's. Completely. He could try to argue for some kind of compensation for repairs or improvements he'd contributed to, but that would be minimal at best. Nathan lost it. He started texting Claire. Dozens of messages. About how she was being vindictive. How he'd made a mistake but she was ruining his life. How he deserved half of everything. Claire forwarded all of it to Patricia. Patricia sent another letter. This one was less polite. It informed Nathan that if he did not vacate the property within 30 days, Claire would file for formal eviction. It also noted that his continued harassment via text message could result in a restraining order. Nathan hired a second attorney. Someone who promised to fight harder. That attorney reviewed the case. Then told Nathan the same thing the first one did. He had no claim to the house. Nathan tried a different approach. He stopped paying utilities. Stopped contributing to anything. Figured if he couldn't have the house, he'd make Claire's life difficult. Claire just paid the bills herself. Like she'd been doing for years. Then Nathan started telling people his version of the story. He told their mutual friends that Claire was kicking him out over one mistake and stealing his house. That he'd paid into it for years and she was screwing him over out of spite. Some people believed him. Took his side. But Rachel, Claire's best friend, set the record straight. Posted the receipts. Literally. Showed the deed with only Claire's name. Explained the timeline. The narrative shifted fast. Nathan went from victim to the guy who cheated on his wife, tried to steal her house, and then played victim when he got caught. The eviction deadline came. Nathan still hadn't left. Claire filed the paperwork. The court date was set. Nathan showed up with his attorney. Tried to argue that he'd contributed to the household and deserved consideration. The judge looked at the deed. Asked if Nathan's name was on it. No, Your Honor, but, did you contribute to the down payment? No, but, did you pay the mortgage? We split expenses, did you pay the mortgage? Yes or no? No. Then you have no claim to this property. You have 15 days to vacate. If you're not out by then, the sheriff will remove you. Nathan left the courthouse pale and shaking. He moved out 12 days later. Took his clothes, his computer, some furniture that was his from before the marriage. He tried to take the living room TV. Claire's attorney sent a text, that TV was purchased in 2019 with marital funds. It stays. He left it. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. Claire kept the house. Kept her retirement accounts. Kept everything that was hers before the marriage. Nathan got his car, his personal belongings, and the credit card debt he'd racked up without telling her. He tried to ask for alimony. His attorney shut that down fast. He'd been the one who committed adultery. He had no grounds. Claire paid off the mortgage early in 2025. The house was completely hers. Free and clear. She renovated the bedroom. New paint. New furniture. New everything. Erased every trace of Nathan. And when friends asked if she regretted buying the house before she got married, if it made the divorce more complicated, she laughed. That house saved me. If his name had been on it, he could have dragged this out for years. But because I bought it myself, because I kept it in my name, I had all the power. He had none. Best decision I ever made was not putting his name on the deed. Let's talk about what actually happened here, because this story is about way more than a cheating husband getting kicked out. This is about the importance of protecting your assets. About understanding what's yours and what's shared. About not assuming that marriage automatically means equal ownership of everything. Claire bought that house on her own. She didn't need Nathan's help. She didn't need his permission. And when the marriage fell apart, she didn't need to negotiate for something that was already hers. A lot of people get pressured to add their spouse to the deed after marriage. To make everything equal or fair. But here's the thing, if you brought it into the marriage, if you paid for it yourself, you're allowed to keep it in your name. That's not being selfish. That's being smart. Because you never know what's going to happen. People change. Relationships end. And when they do, you want to make sure you're protected. Nathan thought that being married gave him rights to Claire's house. He thought he could cheat, get caught, and then demand she leave her own property. He was wrong on every count. And that mistake cost him everything. Alright, Tangled Yarns family, I want to hear from you. Have you ever kept an asset in your name only and had it save you during a breakup or divorce? Or have you seen someone get screwed because they assumed marriage meant automatic co-ownership? Drop your stories below. This is the kind of thing people need to hear about. If this story hit home, hit that like button. Subscribe for new stories every single day. And remember, protecting your assets isn't about planning for failure. It's about being smart. And if someone tries to kick you out of your own house, maybe check who's actually on the deed first. I'm Brett. This is Tangled Yarns. And that yarn? Officially untangled. See you tomorrow.